Hello, and welcome to the Maria Sanchez Show. Thank you so much for listening and watching us on KDTV.com. We have as our in-studio guest the newly elected, about to be, heir apparent Sheriff of Ventura County, Jeff Dean. Jeff, welcome to the program.
Welcome. Thank you. Thank you very much for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Always a pleasure to be with you.
Yes, and I feel the same about you. You're an amazing man, an amazing career, a fantastic family. Sometimes I used to say to you during the campaign, I think you might be a little overqualified. And you go, shh, don't say that. So to give folks a background, if they don't know about what has just transpired in Ventura County, you have been with the Sheriff's Department for 32
years.
32 years. And you're a young man, so you obviously started when
when I was 12.
Yeah, just got out of high school.
Yeah, right.
Nearly, right?
Yeah. I was 20 and a half when I started as a cadet writing parking tickets out in the city of Thousand Oaks for the Sheriff's Department.
So your entire career has been with the Ventura County Sheriff's Department?
Yeah, my entire career. It's a great agency. I've worked all over the place, all over the county, but yeah, always been with the Sheriff's Department.
And just so our viewers know, we're going to be speaking with Jeff about, one, his career, two, the election, and then three, what it is that he envisions for Ventura County, so that everyone knows where we're going. I kind of like to give a roadmap if possible. So in terms of your career, what drew you to law enforcement and why sheriff?
You know, I was actually an Explorer Scout in high school in Simi Valley, and it's just something I guess I always had an affinity for, and I enjoyed it. It was fun. I enjoyed the community service aspect of it. And as I evolved through life and graduated high school and went to junior college and did different things, I just said, I think this is the track I want to take. And the Sheriff's Department, it was the CETA program.
What is that?
It was a federally funded program. They hired the first parking cadets, young college kids, so you go to college, to go out and do traffic enforcement and write parking tickets and handle minor things that sworn deputies would relieve them of the problem of doing that. And it just kind of started at, and I looked at different agencies, but the Sheriff's Department, at least in this county, and I wanted to stay out here, growing up in Simi Valley, just offered a diversity of assignment all over the place. You can work in the jails, you can work in Thousand Oaks, you can work all the way up to Upper Ojai. There's just a lot of variety, and I figured if I'm going to have a long history of 30 years in one career, I want to have some options available to me.
And you had the vision as a young man to look ahead, because a lot of people, especially young people, our kids' generations, for example, they don't know what they want to do for a major in college, let alone what they want to do for a living, let alone what they want to do 30 years down the line. And it doesn't sound to me like you were that kind of a man. There
wasn't a lot of question about what I wanted to do. It was, I really liked it. I was actually dating a girl whose father was an arson investigator for the county fire department. And I talked to him about being a fireman, and he said, you know what? I have some friends that work for the Sheriff's Department. And he introduced me to a couple people on the agency, and they talked about it, and I just got excited, and it just seemed like, the place for me. It was big enough, but it wasn't Los Angeles. I didn't want to go down and work down there and be assigned, having to drive hours just to get to a work assignment. And I loved it out here. It's a great community.
Now, can you distinguish, because a lot of people think about police, and they don't know what's the difference between police and sheriff, and then there's contract departments and at will, and can you go through that, what that means for us here in the county?
It's really complicated and really convoluted. The sheriff is responsible for all the unincorporated areas of the county, so we provide police services where it's not in an incorporated city. We also run all the jails in the county. It's a state mandate. We're the head of Office of Emergency Services. We have the helicopters that fly. And then some cities, 5 cities, Moore Park, Thousand Oaks, Camarillo, Fillmore, and Ojai, contract to us to be their police department. It's more cost effective for them. So in essence, they hire us and we become their police department. And they say we want to hire 3 officers, and we want to have a canine officer, and we want to have a motorcycle officer, and we provide that service at the contract rate. So they pay 100% of the cost, but we provide that service, and they don't have to pay the overhead. They don't have to have their own dispatch center. They don't have to have duplicate areas of management and oversight or hiring and firing. We handle all that for them.
So you say the unincorporated areas of the county, and then the cities that contract with you, and there's 10 in the county, right?
There's 10 cities, and five of those cities contract with us. So Simi Valley, Oxnard, Ventura, Santa Paula, Port Hueneme all have their own police department, and then we police for everyone else in the county.
And is there a distinction between the word police and sheriff?
Yes, sheriff's much more important.
Okay.
Well, I say that to all my police friends out there, all the chiefs of police from all these agencies. Well, it's funny, people get confused because, say, in the city of Thousand Oaks, you'll see a black and white police car, and it'll say Thousand Oaks Police on the side and Ventura County Sheriff on the back. So we like to give our local jurisdictions we contact with, a feeling of ownership. So we put police on there, and police are designated for municipal agencies. And sheriff, again, is an elected official and provides certain services that are mandated in the state constitution.
Okay. And then also, if you don't mind, I'd like you to speak a little bit about your family, because I know that there's great support for you and an amazing amount of reason for you to have pride, and probably one of the few reasons that you were able to hang in there, which we'll get to, the election and what that was all about and the toll that took.
They're an amazing group. My wife Marlene and I have been married for coming up on 24 years, and she is a math professor at Oxnard College. She's the brains of the family with a master's in theoretical mathematics. And then I have a 21-year-old daughter who'll be a senior at DePaul University in Chicago and is planning on going to law school. And an 18-year-old that just graduated from high school and will be going to New Mexico State.
New Mexico?
New Mexico State, Las Cruces, New Mexico.
And my mom went to the University of New Mexico.
In Albuquerque. Yeah.
And she was raised outside of Las Cruces.
Oh, yeah.
How did he choose there?
He's a football player, and he wanted to play Division I football somewhere, and that's they're the ones that were interested, so that's where he's going. And
something else that you didn't mention about your daughter, what she's doing in college?
She is a softball player. Hallelujah for softball. She's on a academic and athletic scholarship at DePaul. So she's a pitcher, and she's got one more year there.
So they're obviously you're very talented, all of you. Now, I also would like to mention that you have your master's degree as well.
I do. I have a master's degree in public administration, another one in management from Cal Poly.
Okay, so you have two master's degrees.
I do. I'm overly educated.
I don't know that there's such a thing. But what drove you to get your master's degrees, and when did you do that in your life?
Actually, I didn't get them until I was on the department, and education, was important, and it was always been important in the agency that if you want to promote, you need to get a formal education. It's not mandated, but it's very, very critical.
Really?
And yeah, we have very few of our managers don't have their master's degrees.
And then in terms of you getting it, do they give you compensation, tuition assistance, time?
You get some tuition assistance, and you actually get an educational incentive for having it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really important. And, and it's not so much what you learn from the education itself. I mean, you do glean great information from it, but a lot of it is going through the process and making that commitment and learning how to do research and documentation and writing. And you pick up a big business aspect, because as you move up higher in management in any organization, we're running a business. I mean, we're a $225 million business.
Wow, is that right?
Yeah, it's a big place.
Wow. And we're going to get into the details of the department too, as well as the personnel, as well as maybe some of the issues. But before we take this break, I just want to remind our viewers that we're visiting with Sheriff-elect. Is that the proper?
That's the proper term.
Sheriff-elect Jeff Dean, and what that means to be Sheriff of Ventura County. Also, what the election was like. This was fairly unprecedented for our county, so we'll get into those details. And the timing that took, because when you announced your candidacy to when the actual election was.
It was a long haul.
A long haul. And what the county can look forward to with Sheriff Dean in charge of our county and our law enforcement. Top cop, right?
Well, it depends if you ask my fellow chiefs around the county or the district attorney, I
think I'd ask Marlene.
Yeah.
So thank you for viewing the Maria Sanchez Show. We're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back.
Hi, I'm Audrey Johnson. Be safe, be legal. handsfree805.com. I am so delightful to be here in the studio of KADYTV.com. We're here to share with you and to educate with you what Hands-Free 805 is all about. You could send a text. You could read your email. You could make a phone call. Just your voice. Handsfree805.com is the latest, hottest technology that I've experienced a long time, especially coming from South America and being here in America with the latest technology. So please give us a call, 805-754-2063. Be safe, be legal.
Hi, this is Peter Godinez from KDTV.com. I'm here to announce a new show that we're all excited about here called Meet the Boss. Now this is about all your friends and neighbors who own businesses and being able to support them in their causes and helping them stay healthy. So save this program in your favorites, make sure you spread it out to your friends, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all here in Ventura County.
Welcome back to the Maria Sanchez Show on KDTV.com. Thank you so much for taking your time to include us in your very busy days. We are about Ventura County, by Ventura County, for Ventura County, and who better to be with us than Sheriff-elect Jeff Dean, who just won the election in June and will be serving starting January 3rd.
That's the way it looks.
2011. So if you missed our last segment, you might want to get a review of that. We talked about Jeff's experience within the department of 32 years now. And now I'd like to go into the election itself. As I recall, and correct me if I'm wrong, for 32 years, Ventura County had not an election for sheriff.
There was not a contested election.
Right. So there was somebody on the ballot, nobody running against that somebody, and ordinarily, as I understand it, the outgoing sheriff selected the person that they would like to succeed them, and you chose to challenge that system.
Yeah, that's a good summary of it.
Okay. Like I said, you can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, you're accurate so far.
So Jeff decided that after 32 years in the force that you would kind of take on a new challenge, which is not only an election, but contesting how things had run through the old boy network, if you will. And why don't you talk a little bit about what informed your decision and how it was that you decided to go for it? And I'm sure you kind of shook things up when you announced that you were going to run.
Yeah, it was shrouded in controversy for quite a while, and it was on the front page of all the papers and some of the issues that occurred between the sheriff and I just decided that, I thought people deserve a choice, and we have a democracy, and I believe in democracy, and we knew it would be kind of an uphill battle because it had been entrenched for 32 years since Al Gelati from Port Hueneme took on the status quo and won. But I decided, and my family decided it was the right thing to do, and so June 8th last year.
So June 8 of 2009,
yeah,
you
we formally announced and took off on a wild adventure. Never been involved in politics before. It was pretty interesting. It was quite an eye opener. People had told me what things might be like and how negative and nasty it could get, and I was a little skeptical. I just didn't think it would, but it got pretty negative and it got pretty nasty, and it was an amazing learning experience. I met people from all over the county that, absent a contested election, you probably wouldn't have met. Talked to just amazingly diverse groups, and it's an eye-opener, the diversity that exists within the county, whether it be conservative or liberal or open-minded or closed-minded people or whatever it might be, and everybody has a different priority. So that part was really good. It's been very educational, and I met just wonderful, wonderful people and people that really care about the county and the communities that we serve.
And just so that you know, the viewers, and I'm probably a little more forthright than the average person in this regard, I believe in full disclosure, and so I was a volunteer for Jeff's campaign. I did donate some, and I walked precincts with Jeff, but I did that in 2010, so I wasn't from the very beginning. What I'd like to say is that your campaign manager, Nancy Frawley, was an amazing human being, in my humble estimation. And I've worked on campaigns on the state level, not so much locally. And if you could just speak a little bit about how you found her and why you chose her, and what, because you two had such a relationship that was spirited and filled with camaraderie, and then you would challenge one another, and sometimes it seemed that it was a little contentious, but always respectful. And I think that it brought out the best in both of you. It's on my level is what I'm saying.
She is a dynamo. I met her. She actually ran a local campaign for Jackie Irwin, one of the city council members in Thousand Oaks, and I had walked precincts for Jackie Irwin and Tom Clancy in Thousand Oaks, and Nancy and I met and we hit it off, and she was a lot of fun. And so when I went to run this countywide campaign, I asked her if she would do it, and she'd never done a countywide campaign, and she took it on and actually worked for peanuts, bless her soul, because we weren't a real wealthy campaign, and we both have fairly strong personalities, mm-hmm. and there were some many heated moments, all because we cared and we were right. very passionate about what we were doing. But she did an amazing job. We could not have accomplished what we accomplished without her. Yeah.
So here is a man that has been in the rank and file, you. Then you take on a system that's been that way for 32 years, never having been in politics, and hire somebody to run the campaign that had never done it on a countywide level. So was that naivete, or was that optimism? Or, I mean, somebody would say to you, dude, that's not going to work.
Well, I think it kind of spoke to the grassroots movement that we had. We weren't part of a political machine. We didn't have high-priced political consultants. We were just a group of people that thought we were doing the right thing. And in the very beginning, there was just a few of us. And it just seemed like the right thing to do, and it felt well. And I like to have people around me that have passion and believe in what they do and aren't just hired guns. Mm-hmm. And people that became a part of our campaign very quickly were that way. They were people that had a passion for what they did. They believed in what we were doing and were really committed. I mean, we had over 150 volunteers. Mm-hmm. We knocked on 31,000 doors.
I'm glad you mentioned that.
Throughout the county. I mean, if you talk to anybody that's run a campaign in this county, that there's no precedent for that. It's just amazing. And it's all because people stepped forward and did it. And part of it was Nancy, that little ball of fire, and Bob and Sue Engler, volunteers in the community, and we had signs everywhere. But it formed up, and then people just joined us so quickly. And
now, how did you know what to focus on? How did you know knocking on doors versus mailers versus flyers versus public appearances versus the signs on the freeway? Where did you get some kind of perspective?
Well, running a campaign, and you've been involved in it, everybody tells you, if you want to win, this is what you have to do.
Right.
Like
there's a formula.
There is, but there isn't.
But if there was, then everybody would win.
Everybody would win. So I kind of approached it kind of like I approach work in life. I got input from everybody. And the bottom line was, I finally had to make a decision because I was a candidate, and it was up to me, and it was not only donated money, but my money that was doing it. And I just decided we needed to approach it on a variety of levels. Social networking was brand new. Mm-hmm. My kids helped me build my first Facebook site. Mm-hmm. And it all just grows and evolved. And I thought, you need to do a little bit. We need to be able to send out flyers, but we need to put signs up. We need to knock on doors. We need to make phone calls. So we just kind of thought we'd do a little bit of everything.
And then money. Obviously, there's a finite amount, so you can't do everything. So you have to prioritize in that regard, right?
And we had some meetings near the end of the campaign. Some people really felt strongly we needed to spend more money on television commercials, and we just said, we just don't have the money. We're going to have to stop, and we're going to do X, Y, and Z, and we just can't do that. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work.
And so, lo and behold, on June, what was it, 6th?
8th.
8th, excuse me. June 8th was the primary, and you can't really get a feel on the county level because of the returns and the polls not closing till 8, and everyone was checking in with the government center, right, or something, a website?
Yeah, we were all online, and we were at a friend of mine's house, and we had 300 people that showed up that evening, and you're just waiting for the returns to come in. And actually, my wife and I said, I don't want to be around the crowd, and we went up in the back bedroom and we're watching it. I was going to pull it up online on my laptop, and I had an air card, and I hear everybody screaming downstairs, and I can't get the laptop to work. So finally, Nancy comes up and she goes, "You got to come down here and see the results." So the first results came out, and they were very good. It was very nice.
Victorious.
Yeah.
It's a great ending to a beautiful story. And when we come back after this brief break, we're going to get into now as sheriff-elect, and then once you get, what are you sworn in or?
Yeah, I'll be sworn in.
Paneled or
Yeah.
sworn in. What it is that you foresee that you're going to do with the county, for the county, and with your personnel. You're watching the Maria Sanchez Show on KDTV.com. We thank you so much for your time, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Audrey Johnson. Be safe, be legal. Handsfree805.com. I am so delightful to be here in the studio of KADYTV.com. We're here to share with you and to educate with you what Handsfree805 is all about. You could send a text. You could read your email. You could make a phone call. Just your voice. Handsfree805.com is the latest, hottest technology that I've experienced a long time, especially coming from South America and being here in America with the latest technology. So please give us a call, 805-754-2063. Be safe, be legal.
Hi, this is Peter Godinez from KDTV.com. I'm here to announce a new show that we're all excited about here called Meet the Boss. Now this is about all your friends and neighbors who own businesses and being able to support them in their causes and helping them stay healthy. So save this program in your favorites, make sure you spread it out to your friends, and I'm looking forward to seeing you all here in Ventura County.
Welcome back to the Maria Sanchez Show on KDTV.com. We thank you so much for your time. We appreciate your eyes and your ears. And if you don't happen to catch us live, you can always log on to KDTV.com and you can click onto archives, and then you are be able to watch what we've done over time, over the week, the next day. And there's also MariaSanchezShow.com that you can log on to as well. We have in studio with us Sheriff-elect Jeff Dean, and we've spoken to him about his career, about the election, and now we're going to speak to Jeff when he gets sworn in on January 3rd of 2011. What it is, do you have a list of priorities? Do you have certain areas that you want to make changes in? Or are you going to spend some time just doing overall connecting, or is that what this interim period is for? Or can you do anything like that until January 3rd?
Well, it's kind of an interesting position. It's a little different. Normally, the election isn't decided until November because there's multiple candidates, at least in other types of elections.
Right.
In Ventura County, there hasn't been historically. But so now there's this 5.5, 6 month period before Sheriff Brooks leaves office in January 3rd. The law is interesting. It's noon on the Monday following the New Year of when you were elected.
Wow.
I don't know why the legislature put that in, but it's noon on January 3rd. And so the good part about that is it's given me time to plan. Mm-hmm. I can gather input from a variety of sources. I talk to different people every day. I ask everybody, what would you do if you were sheriff for the day? If you're going to be the sheriff in January, how would you change things? What would you put in place? And so I have some opportunities. There's some people that are leaving the organization. I'm probably we'll have fewer executives than we have now, only for cost-saving purposes. I think we need to make some cuts there. But I've been kind of creating a priority list in my own mind and discussing some of those issues with different people and share that information, and then trying to look at models of what my administration is going to look like. What's going to work best for my personality, what's going to work best for the organization, and what works best to be able to serve all the communities. Tough times. We're probably going to have to cut another $1.5 million out of our budget this year.
Who mandates that?
The
county?
The Board of Supervisors.
Okay.
It's an interesting dichotomy that as the elected sheriff, they can't tell me how to spend the money, but they can tell me how much money they're going to give me. Mm-hmm. And the board's been really good. Last year they allocated some additional funds so there wouldn't have to be any layoffs. It costs a lot to train a deputy sheriff and then to have them lay them off. And they did the same thing this year. I've already met with the CEO, Marty Robinson, and we'll have a great working relationship. I know we have to make some more cuts to come to a sustainable budget just because there isn't enough money. And we can't keep going back to the taxpayers to ask for more money. And so that'll be one of the challenges that we face. But I anticipate a top-to-bottom audit of the agency.
Really?
Yeah, starting January 1.
When was that last done?
The last time we did one, I actually probably did it 4 or 5 years ago.
Wow.
And
you did it?
Yeah, I was
Woo!
asked.
Wow.
Yeah. So we'll do it top to bottom just to make sure where all the resources are and all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. And then we'll get input from the entire agency about the priorities. Yeah, I think it's important to me that we talk to people out on the field that are working, people that are working in the jail 24/7, because they're the ones that really have a feeling for what's going on. Hey, we may not need all these people here, or we could use some more people over here. And I'm already soliciting input on how we're going to do that survey, because I want people to feel comfortable. Sometimes they feel they need to be anonymous. And then that information will come into a committee of live bodies, and then we'll prioritize for the agency what we're going to do and what's important and what's not important, and get community input to make sure we're meeting the needs that are out there.
Now, how long is your tenure?
4 years.
4 years. And then election?
And then, then you decide if you're going to do it again, and the circus begins once again. I feel sorry for these state legislators to have to run every 2 years.
Yes.
I just can't imagine. You would just be on a constant cycle.
Now, I would imagine that there would be some value to the surveys being anonymous, because you could really probably get the true feelings. And would there be any reason not to make it anonymous?
No, and I think what I'm leaning towards is I'll make it anonymous, but if you'd like to have your name there, and because I'm looking for people that want to be involved in the committee to go through and prioritize. Mm-hmm. So the problem with people today is they're so skeptical, even over the internet, to say, how am I assured that this is anonymous?
Right.
And people that work with me and know me, they know I really treasure that input, and they can say whatever they want. But a lot of people haven't worked directly with me in the agency. We have 1,200 people, so they may feel uncomfortable. So we're probably going to use some internet model initially, so people have a higher level of comfort in speaking, candidly and frankly.
Now, we here in Ventura County are here, most of us, for a reason, and we know why we're here, the quality of life. I call it Mayberry because I've bumped into you all over the county, and it's like, go figure.
Yeah.
We've got the beaches, and we've got forests, and we have rivers, and I don't have to sell Ventura County to people in Ventura County. But in terms of safety, can you expound upon that for folks who might not know?
Well, we're certainly one of the safest counties in the country, and some of the cities in the county are some of the safest, the top 4 or 5 everywhere. Mm-hmm. And even some of the cities that people perceive as being unsafe, mm-hmm. That Oxnard word that
right.
people say, oh my gosh, there's crime everywhere. It's really not. Their crime stats have gone down almost 40% in the past several years, and if you compare them to Los Angeles and other areas, they're incredibly safe. So while it's a safe place, we have to be careful. We have to continue working. We have to be vigilant, and we have to have the collaboration, which we will have. I'm already meeting with all the chiefs of police, and we're talking about how we can collaborate, reduce the duplication services to keep everybody safe, share information, and share resources.
Now, is there a resource that you want to refer our viewers to? And of course, we'll have that available on our line, links, websites, that sort of thing, if they want to get in touch with you.
Well, you can. We really don't have anything up to speed now because I'm staying fairly low key until January.
Okay.
Sheriff Brooks is still
Still
the
in
sheriff
charge,
and setting the policy. So after that, after January we'll have a website up that
So you know
people
what?
can go
We'll
to.
have you back once you are officially the sheriff
Well, that'd be
instead
great.
of the sheriff-elect, and we can share that contact information.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Then, and then I'm curious, things like Crime Stoppers that we have in the county and the K9, and do we have anything that's special or unique that you know of in perspective of other communities?
We're pretty consistent with everybody else. What we have here that's so important is everybody works together really well. There's really a level of cooperation. All the agencies talk together. At the lower levels, everybody shares resources and they talk to each other. And it's like you said, you and I run into each other all over the county. Well, the officers run into each other also, and they talk to each other, and they pick up the phone and they say, hey Jeff, we just had a burglary over here. I thought I heard you guys had one over there in Ventura. Does the MO match? How does that correlate? And then when you add that to the addition of technology and software, being able to share those resources all in the same databases and share the same information, it's one of the key elements that helps us stay safe in Ventura County is the sharing of information and resources.
And that makes a lot of sense because it's even a conversation where one thing that might not seem significant gets hurt, and it's like, same kind of, instead of this email thing. How novel, you pick up the phone and you speak.
And you talk, and everybody accesses the same information. So we're really, really lucky that way, and there's a great working relationship with everybody, and it'll get better.
Perfect. Well, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to visit with us. This is our inaugural production of the Maria Sanchez Show, and I couldn't be more proud. It was such a triumph to see, because I saw how hard you worked, and I can only imagine what was going on behind the scenes, and that you were taking on the system, and you were doing it with integrity, and taking the higher road, if you will, and not to say anything about your candidate, but your opponent in that regard. But it's the perfect genesis for what we're trying to do here with the Maria Sanchez Show at KDTV.com. And so, Jeff, thank you very much for that.
Oh, well, it's my pleasure. Exciting to be here on the first show.
Yes, thank you. And we thank you so much for watching. We thank you for using KDTV.com as your resource, and we hope to be your eyes and ears in the county. This is Maria Sanchez. Have a great day.